7 words Prince William couldn't escape after Harry and Meghan's betrayal. The Duke of Cambridge gave a powerful speech this week, but even a future king can't ignore the ghosts of the past. Hello and a very warm welcome back to the Sussex Daily News channel. Looking back, maybe that white suit wasn't such a great idea. On Tuesday this week, William and Catherine, Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, were back at it. They helped to unveil a new national monument at London's Waterloo Station. So what did Catherine, who has shown a propensity towards business-like get-ups lately, choose to wear for the occasion? She was wearing a crisp 2-piece ensemble from Alexander McQueen, and it was blazingly, glaringly white. There was one online publication that quickly sprang forth with a doozy of a headline: Kate Middleton looks business chic in white suit to celebrate Windrush Day. So what's the problem? Well, allow me to explain. So, number 1, the term white power is very problematic, and its usage is only made worse when you realize that number 2, Windrush Day celebrates the thousands of people from Caribbean countries who migrated to the UK after World War II, and who have, at times, been treated pretty horribly by the British government. So the problem with Catherine's outfit is that it was a symbol of one very unfortunate thing. The couple has a problem with racism. Now, before anybody starts yelling at me, allow me to be clear here. I am not accusing the two of them of being racist, not at all. I don't actually think they hold any kind of racist beliefs or knowingly do a single thing that would earn them the praise of the MAGA crowd. But when it comes to anything even remotely related to skin color and prejudice, the Cambridges are lost. The specter of racism is one thing that has loomed large over the whole House of Windsor since March of last year. That's when Harry and Meghan went on global TV screens to denounce their treatment at the hands of the palace. According to Meghan, when she was pregnant with her son Archie, there had been concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he was born. And speaking with Oprah Winfrey, she also said they didn't want him to be a prince or a princess. He wasn't going to receive security. And Harry chose to discuss the fact that over 70 female members of Parliament, both Conservative and Labour, came out and called out the colonial undertones of articles and headlines written about Meghan. Yet no one from my family ever said anything. That hurts. And the response from Buckingham Palace to that interview and their claims was silence for nearly 2 entire days. And then after that, they just put out the tight-lipped statement saying that the issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning. But, they noted, recollections may vary. So the only HRH to publicly comment on the allegations was William. Later that same week, he told reporters, "We are very much not a racist family, and in the 15 months that have passed since then, we haven't heard anything more about the subject by a single senior Windsor." So it seemed like the royal strategy was to treat the whole situation like some kind of bear attack. Just lie really, really still and hope that the danger can pass. Probably the palace was just wishing and hoping that the world would move on and forget the Sussex's racism claims. But clearly, people have not forgotten so easily. In the polling that was done after the Oprah interview, ethnic minority Britons said that they thought the royal family was racist by a margin of 43%. Only 27% disagreed. And in research that was performed in June of this year, nearly equal proportions of 18 to 24-year-olds do believe that the UK should become a republic. But the thing is, the comments made by Harry and Meghan weren't made in a vacuum. Instead, they were made against the racial reckoning of the Black Lives Matter movement. It may have started in America, but it certainly reached British shores as well. Statues were toppled, and in the months since then, 69 tributes to slave traders and colonialists in the UK have either been removed or changed. So with all that going on, it would be a serious error of judgment indeed if William and Catherine continued to turn a blind eye to the fact that, thanks to Meghan and Harry, for many people, the royal family has become synonymous with bigotry. Now again, I am absolutely not accusing them of really being racist, but now that the charges have been made, it's not like they can just sit around and hope that those charges will magically disappear of their own accord. The longer that anybody with an HRH fails to adequately respond to the claims made by Meghan and Harry, the worse they all end up looking. And another issue, how can either William or Catherine morally or intellectually try and hold themselves up as proponents of equality, when in fact the family and the whole institution that they represent has been accused of modern racism? How can they hope to have any credibility on the matter when Meghan's claims are still at the forefront of public consciousness? Now clearly, there is a much bigger situation at play here. Even if Meghan and Harry had not said a single incendiary word, the centuries of colonial rule presided over by British kings and queens is barely something that can just be swept under the rug. It's not something that can be politely ignored. See, we can't just forget that more than 3 million men, women, and children were abducted and they were shipped off to the Caribbean. Between the 1660s and 1680s, the English in Barbados instituted the Slave Code. Now, that code defined slaves as non-humans, who were, according to the UN, heathens and brutes, and they weren't fit to be governed by the same laws as Christians. Now, at pretty much exactly the same time, specifically in 1689, that's when William III, who owned half of the Royal African Company and which profited a lot from the slave trade, bought a modest cottage and then remade it into Kensington Palace. Of course, that's right where the Cambridge family is currently residing. Or let's take another example, the imperial crown. Now, Catherine could wear that when she becomes queen, and it features the 186-carat Koh-i-Noor diamond. In fact, there's nothing that's a better example of what has been termed the British Empire's campaign of state-sponsored theft. Both the Pakistani and Indian governments have asked over and over again for that jewel to come back to them. And then in 2020, people were calling for the Order of St. Michael and St. George, one of the highest royal orders, to be redesigned. That's because the image on the gong depicts a white angel with its foot on a black angel's head. Now, none of these, I'm talking about the palace, the diamond, or the honor, are things that the current members of the royal family created, but still they are a little bit responsible for, at the very least, talking about the more problematic aspects of the monarchy's past. They can't just ignore the fact that the echoes of colonialism and racism are still woven into parts of royal life. I can predict the arguments that many people will make at this point. They'll say it's impossible to prove you're not racist, or they'll say that the empire crumbled a long time ago. It wasn't William and Catherine who subjugated millions of people while stripping mining assets. So why should they be made to pay for the sins of their forefathers? But see, the thing about it is, if William and Catherine really want the monarchy to become a relevant and useful institution in modern British public life, I mean, if they want it to survive, then they cannot go around pretending that previous heads of the same body didn't profit a lot from the brutalization and suffering of people of color. I'm sorry, but silence is not a valid option here. Now, clearly, they can't do anything to change the past, but what they could do is more openly and transparently acknowledge it. See, in the same vein, Harry and Meghan's accusations, I'm not suggesting that it was a they said war of words, but the royal family really needs to put out some kind of substantial, meaningful response. If William wants to be a leader, he can't just give the issue of racism a wide berth and hope that everybody's just going to be dazzled by how well he's doing on climate change or homelessness. It's not like people are going to forget to be concerned about it. So these little 7 words, "we're very much not a racist family," it's not good enough. William cannot outrun, out-ignore, or out-charity the fact that a very clear line can be drawn between the horrors of the monarchy's past and the modern day. Personally, I think it would be incredible to see William taking part in some kind of national conversation about race in the UK, or maybe he could agree to a very honest public discussion about the monarchy's dark past. After all, I think the first step in dealing with a problem is admitting you have that problem, right? Or perhaps William and Catherine could start much closer to home, considering that in their team, diversity means people who went to state school. See, the thing is, not a single one of their senior staff is a person of color. And overall, only 8.5% of royal employees are from ethnic minorities. Maybe if they had some non-white people advising them, then their Caribbean tour earlier this year might not have gone so off the rails. The couple was photographed shaking the hands of black kids through a fence, and they were inspecting Jamaican troops while dressed up like two extras from out of Africa. It was problematic. So their week-long trip only reinforced the impression that many people have that the royal family is an inherently antiquated and useless relic, that they don't have any place in 21st century life whatsoever. During William's speech at the opening of the Waterloo Monument this week, he said that the Windrush generation had been profoundly wrong, but then later he declared that discrimination remains an all too familiar experience for black men and women in Britain in 2022. It was a powerful speech, but future kings cannot survive on impassioned speeches alone. William and Catherine really need to do some more seizing the day when it comes to this. See, William and Catherine have a really amazing opportunity. They have the opportunity for history to remember them for all the right reasons instead of the wrong ones. And do you agree with this view in my video? Please let me know below in the comment section, and we can also talk about the royal family members together. If you think my video was useful, please don't forget to like and share it with anyone else who would enjoy it. And please don't forget to subscribe to the Sussex Daily News channel to not miss any new videos in the future. Now, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely evening, and I'll be back to see you all tomorrow.